Alright guys, time for another comic review, and this is another comic that came from Chris. Chris, I know you're watching, thank you so much for the comic. And today we're going to be reviewing a image book, Oblivion Song. Now, Oblivion Song is a book by Robert Kirkman, who, that name should probably be synonymous with shit that gets made into TV shows, or... yeah, it's shit that gets money. It's shit that gets money. Robert Kirk, and this is probably going to be something in the future. I would imagine we'd probably get like a TV show or a movie or something of that nature. So yeah, Robert Kirkman's name was on it. Now now personally, I think Kirkman is a little overhyped as a writer. Let me back up. I'm not saying he's bad. Let me be clear. I'm not saying he's bad. Man makes money for a reason. You know, man, the dude has made a Invincible animated series, obviously Walking Dead, and there's other projects in the work with Robert Kirkman. I just think his writing is a little overhyped. I'm not saying he's bad, I'm just saying, like, there's nothing in these books that make me go, yeah, Robert Kirkman for the win. It's not like... There's not like I'm not saying like his ideas are bad or anything. I'm just saying like there's not a lot of like new there's writing in here that makes me go, holy shit, this is an award-winning, this is a mind-bending book. This is a mind-bending, beautiful book. I'm not saying that at all. That's all I'm saying is that, like, me personally, maybe it's just a personal thing. Maybe it is just a personal thing, because there are other, like, really talented writers where I'm like, I don't get the hype. Kirkman is just on that list of just writers where I like him and I like reading work with him. It's just I don't see the real hype. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, I'm not trying to be a dick and saying like fuck Robert Kirkman. Obviously not. The dude is making money. It's the same thing with Scott Snyder. I think Scott Snyder is a little overhyped, but I still like work by Scott Snyder. You see what I'm saying? Anyway. So, that's probably one of the most hottest takes I've taken in a video. I'm just saying. Anyway, so what is... now that that's all the way, let's talk about Oblivion Song itself. What is Oblivion Song? Oblivion Song is I wouldn't call it a post-apocalyptic story. In fact, it's pretty far from it. Oblivion Song is about this character named Nathan Cole, Nathan Cole travels into a place called the Oblivion, which is this little unknown area in this little pocket universe where a huge chunk of Philadelphia got teleported to decades ago, and the world is trying to move on from that. Basically, like, there was this event that happened, and it caused this huge chunk to travel into, like, this Lovecraftian nightmare universe. And Nathan uses his technology to actually blip into Oblivion and go get the survivors and bring them back or at least evidence that they were there. He doesn't find everyone, but he does find a good chunk of survivors. However, he's not exactly being altruistic about it, because he's kind of really circumventing the government, as well as he's doing this to find his long-lost brother who he left on bad terms with. So this is the first chapter. This is, Oblivion Chapter 1 is pretty much gives you the whole 6 issues of talking about, like, what is going on. Like, what is this universe? What is it about? What are we dealing with? And it's pretty nice. I will say right out the gate that, like, the artwork by, I'm gonna butcher their names, too. I am so gonna butcher their names. I am so sorry. By Lorenzo de la Fence, I pronounce. But yeah, he's also a co-creator on this with Kirkman, and he's the artist. De Flency, I'm gonna fucking butcher that name. I'm sorry. He does really good. Like, I would love to see more artwork with him. I would love to see, because look at like some of this artwork. It's beautiful, and there are a lot of like, and this was the same thing with Walking Dead, where Kirkman. And this was, I think, one of Kirkman's strengths, where he tells a whole story in a panel. And, like, for the first chapter of this series, like, the first issue, there are just, like, moments where there's no dialogue at all, and this artwork and the panel structure tells the story. And I really appreciate that. There's a part of me that does want to see Robert Kirkman do a Godzilla book for IDW. Is that too much? Can we get that, please? I would be very curious to see how Kirkman tells a story through panels, I think would kind of work well with a Godzilla book. That's just me, though. The story is also, as with most Kirkman books, this is a very personal human story as well, because Nathan Cole, like I said, is not at all altruistic. He basically, yes, he is doing this to find his long-lost brother, who he doesn't know is alive or dead, and the government, rightfully so, because here's the thing, the government in here that he's trying to get, permission to use his technology and have, like, government explorations in there, they're kind of justifiably like, dude, you don't know what this is going to do. You don't know. Every time you pop in there, it's going to weaken the barrier, and it's just going to unleash hell. You don't know that. It's actually kind of very much... It's not because they don't describe them as the government as, ooh, we're the government and we're the hard-ass, outlying assholes, and we're gonna, fuck everything up. And to an extent they do, but, like, it's justified because, like, again, Nathan is basically playing with the fire of the gods, and he doesn't know the full extension of what he could exactly, like, bring with that as well. That's kind of the thing, is that there are people in here, and we also have other supporting characters whose he's also saved from this, and we do see, like, the other angle of it, of people who have been trapped in the Oblivion for ages, and, like, there's clear mental scars of living that long for years in there. It's a very human story, but I will say that I did kind of figure out the big climax of what caused the Oblivion. Not to spoil it, but the moment I read this, I was like, I know what happened. And sure enough, by the end of the story arc, in issue 6, when we get to issue 6 of chapter 1, I was literally like, yep, knew it. I knew that was the case. So yeah, and there's also, like, this great thing, this dichotomy between Nathan and his brother Ed, who Ed is actually like, yeah, this is living, man. Like, I didn't, I was a nobody, and now here I am protecting these people. I have meaning in my life. There's a great human story in here. This is a pretty good book. I would love to read the second volume. I don't know if Chapter 2 is out or not, but I would be very curious to read it. If you are a fan of Robert Kirkman, as much as I say I think he's overhyped, I do enjoy his work, and this is something I would enjoy. I wasn't the biggest Walking Dead fan, even in the comics, and Invincible was, but I would love to read more of this. I would love to read more of Oblivion Song. But yeah, Chris, thank you so much for sending me this book. This was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. And you guys tell me in the comments below if you've read Oblivion Song. Please comment below, let me know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.